Yeah. Something's different. I can explain. Hey guys, Joe here, and once again, it's been about a week and I've changed the system again because of a very good reason, and I'll get to you right and quick. If you are new to the channel, thank you for checking it out. I do appreciate that. Maybe consider giving me a like and a subscribe down below. Maybe use my Amazon affiliate link for some of the stuff I use in the video, and help the channel grow so that I can keep doing weird stuff like this and I don't have to do what I did. That's kind of a segue into what I did. You saw Friday's video about the Budget Gaming Beast. Well, as I was sitting and thinking about it, I decided that that was actually more than I personally need or even want at this point, because number one, I don't do that much gaming anymore. I really don't. I play a couple of common games, and the value of the 7700K and the MSI motherboard and the DDR4 RAM that was in there was much higher than my need to keep it, if that makes any sense. So what I've done is I sold the 7700K, the motherboard, the RAM, but I kept the case and the cooler, so I'm actually way ahead. Reinstalled my X58 system, figured out why the PCIe lanes weren't working correctly. Hint, I accidentally had one turned halfway off, and I have it, as you can see, water cooled a little bit differently. The reason why I even went with the MSI board was because I got that and the cooler and all that stuff for a good price, but also the cooler didn't fit right because I had the radiator mounted in the front and it had hardline tubing, but now it's got soft tubing, and as you can see, it is working, and I'll do a full breakdown of that in a second here. But I decided that the graphics card is more important than the processor when that processor is still more than good enough. It wasn't even saturating at 1080. So what I'm doing is I'm picking up a card from my buddy, which I've talked about a few times, and in order to facilitate that, I had to sell other stuff because I'm not made out of money unless you guys want to donate something to the channel, and that means I had to get rid of what I had to pay for what I want, because I can't afford to just pay for what I want and then, you know, cycles. And that means that I'll be putting a good graphics card in here and getting by with a decent processor for a little while. The reason why I put the water cooling back in was because the all-in-one water cooler was not keeping that 7700K under control. It was actually letting it run to almost 80 degrees, which is, you know, quite frankly, too ding-dang-dong hot. And in response to that, I decided to figure out how to make soft tubing work. As I said before, I was waiting for this stuff to come in. This is Primo Chill LRT tubing. It comes in a 10-foot roll, something like that, and I cut it down a little bit. The reason why the fluid is kind of reddish clear is because I'm currently cleaning it out, or running it until I get the other card I'm waiting for, and it's running the system clean right now. Might as well. It still works just as regular stuff. And as you can see, there's some stuff that's come out of the reservoir and the radiator. That's why it's slightly pink. Additionally, I like goofing around with stuff, and good thing we're editing. So for fun, I thought I'd throw one of these in there. As you can see, this is a Zotac GTX 970, and it is a water cooled with an EK water block. And to go with it is its twin. This is what that card is, but with a original air cooler shroud on it. This is another Zotac GTX 970, and I'm gonna put those in there until I get the other card. I'm waiting for my friend to get his 2080 Ti, and then I'm getting my card from him. But yeah, after selling the motherboard, CPU, and all that good stuff, I contacted the guy I actually got all that stuff from, and I picked this thing up. So this will go in like that. I'm gonna put that tube into here. And then, because I like doing synthetic benchmarks, I'm going to put that one in SLI for now. And it will be fun, and it will work good, and it will produce some good numbers. Plus, I want to see what an SLI setup is capable of in 2019, so we'll get a video out of it that way. So yeah, that's what I'm working on this weekend. I'm just waiting for some parts to come in. This works great for me. I don't know why I jumped at the other computer chance, but I did, and it is what it is. So I know for a fact this will work great for me. I don't need anything better than this for my gaming, because again, 6 core, 12 thread, 4.4 gigahertz, actually 4.3 gigahertz returns the same score as the 7700K. It'll actually process video faster because of the extra cores, and it runs cooler for some reason than the 7700K did, so I'm happy all around. So coming to the backside here, if you recall, the reason I took the hardline tubing out was because I wasn't able to put a drain in it and it was a pain in the butt. But since I decided to go with soft tubing, I was able to install a drain for the water loop, so I can drain it from here because this is obviously the lowest point in the system, and then I can change fluid, change components, do all the things I need to without any worry. And yes, I do need to cable manage that, but I'm probably still changing up the drive situation. Yeah, that's a very convenient thing to have. You should always find a way to put a drain in your loop, especially if it's in a case that's not easy to drain. You'll have to forgive me, I'm filming off my phone today, by the way, just in case you couldn't tell. But anyways, the reason why a drain works so well is because there you go, you put it like that, use your knees to hold the bottle so you can film, and you can drain your whole system. Bingo, bango, bongo. Look at that. I'm gonna pause for a second. Although one thing you want to consider is you always want to have an extra drain cap or a plug, even though this has a ball cap valve thing, just in case you accidentally twist it, putting it back or anything, you don't want to be leaking. So I always put a block off thingamajigger, you know, words and stuff in goodage. So yeah, let's go back to the front side and show you why I just drained it. And there we go. That's the reason why. As you can see, when I have one card up there, one card down there, it is triple space, but I do have extra SLI brackets. But you can also see, and I wanted to show this before I filled the reservoir the best of the way up, that this pump, man, this pump has a lot of power, at least as much as a D5. You can see it as it's coming through here. It's forcing through air bubbles because of how much is coming down into here. But yeah, I'm gonna fill it up, but you can see how much fluid comes through and why it runs nice and cool. So I'm gonna let this run, leak test it for about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna boot the system up. What you're hearing is the wonderfully delightful sound of a graphics card at 100% fan usage while still running extremely hot. That means that card needs to come out, and I need to do some thermal paste replacement because 100% fan speed and it's running at 68 degrees and it's on the bottom with tons of airflow? No, not good. So yeah, before I go any further, I'm going to shut down the system, pull that card out, thankfully it's not the water-cooled one, and change the thermal compound. Probably hasn't been done in a long time based on the way it felt, so yeah, need to stop the test now. Excuse me. Hey, that's a really nice picture of the die there, GM204 GTX 970, but as you can see, yeah, that thermal paste was just not good, not bueno. So yeah, I'm just gonna wipe that down with some alcohol, get it prepped up, put some stuff on there. It looks like he put different pads on here, or those might be the original pads, I'm not sure. But once I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and reinsert it and see what the heck happens, because that was just 70 degrees at 100% fan. That shouldn't have even been possible. Yeah, once I get it put back together, throw it back in the system and boot it back up, we'll see what happens. I needed to reset it anyways because for some reason it thought there was a new CPU installed and it went and reset all my overclocks. But that's okay, all I got to do is load up my saved OC profile and it'll be good to go. Okay, so I went ahead and reapplied some new thermal compound, let it run for a while, heat up, cool down, heat up, cool down. That's what you need to do. Thermal compound is not what actually does the transfer of heat by itself. The thermal compound is there to even out the surface. It's kind of like a thermally conductive Bondo on a car. You know, you use it to flatten out the minor imperfections between the cooling plate on the actual pipes and the die of the GPU or the CPU for that matter. It allows it to have a flat surface, which allows most contact, which allows the most heat transfer. And I did that, and it did bring it down at 80% fans. It's running at about 65 degrees under full load, which is still hotter than I really want it to. I really wish it would run cooler, but I guess these little smaller 970s, because it's not like a Gigabyte WindForce or anything like that. That's a pretty dang small card. That's less, you know, that's it. And it's running a little bit hot. The top card never hit 50. which it shouldn't have, not with this setup. This setup, it's directly coming right out of the pump at that speed. And it can go up to 4,000 RPM if I had the remote. I lost the remote. Oh well, I don't have an IR blaster on my phone, otherwise I'd hook that up. But anyways, it's going directly into the GPU first and then into the CPU. Or excuse me, the GPU never got over 50. The CPU did get up into the 60s, but you also got to remember this is an X5675 processor, so it runs at 3.07 gigahertz stock. I have it overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz, and I'm giving it extra voltage. I can probably back it down a little bit, and I probably will to help with temps, but right now I'm whacking it with 1.35 volts. That is a lot of voltage. I think stock is 1.17, so I'm probably going to try to back that down a little bit. But I'm also overclocking it by 1.3 gigahertz, which is a massive, it's like a 40% overclock. And there's still another 300 to 400 megahertz left in it. I just don't want to do it because I don't like running my processors at 80 degrees, even though I know it's more than capable of doing so. Anyways, the point is, it's running right, and I want to show you some results. I put some hot sauce on it, and it works better now. A little bit of a revisit from the end of the last section there, which obviously didn't make any sense at all because why would it? But I went ahead and dialed in my overclock, and I'm going to run another Cinebench, but I will show you that right now at 4.1 gigahertz, it's running a 922. Which is really good because it's doing it at 1.275 volts, which is allowing it to stay much, much cooler. Can I get any closer? Yes, I can. Check that out. Of course, now you're hearing all my fans in my system. But yeah, not only did I pick up a lot of points in speed and time over speed equals MC square and stuff, but the temperature is way lower now. So I'm very happy. It's going to be a little bit slower since I have hardware monitor open and MSI's display open and all that good stuff. Man, 12 threads chews through Cinebench, doesn't it? Yeah, so it'll bounce anywhere from 900 to 922, depending on what's open in the background. But still, the max temperature it got up to was 53 degrees Celsius, which means if I can keep it stable at 1.275 volts, I could probably bump it up a little bit more, but I don't think the performance would be worth it, especially considering, like I said, if this crap wasn't open, it'd be running a 922. Which is well over a 4770K and is less than 10% behind the 7700K, while at a frequency that's 800 megahertz lower, so per core. I'm very happy with that. So it's kind of a bad angle, but that's because we are back in my bedroom because I am back on bed rest. I don't think I gave it enough time to heal my leg last time, so we're trying it once more. But let's take a look at the final form of Charizard. Just kidding, whatever the hell I'm calling this computer. The reservoir is now in a good position. It has a little felt thing underneath the bottom so it doesn't scratch the glass. You can see how tight it is. That's two barbed fittings with just a itty bitty bit of room between them for fluid to go by, and it's working well. Only the CPU is cooled, which is all I want because I like to change up graphics cards for both testing and personal fun purposes. I believe earlier in the video you saw two GTX 970s in there. Those were holdovers while I was waiting for this card. If you are a video card snob, like I like to call myself, you will notice that that is a GTX card, it's a Strix card, and it's a Republic of Gamers card. So you should be able to identify it. That's right, it is a Strix GTX 1080 Ti. And it used to be mine 2 years ago, and then I sold it to a buddy, and recently he upgraded to the 2080 Ti and sold me back my 1080 Ti. Actually, he sold me an EVGA GTX 1080 Ti, but my other friend had this card when I sold it to him, and I said, hey, would you trade me back? Because I like the actual look of the Strix better than the EVGA, and eventually I am going to vertically mount it. I have an extra vertical mount as well as a extended ribbon cable. However, that X58 motherboard does not support PCIe Gen 3, and in order to get a PCI extender cable to work correctly, it needs to be running on PCIe Gen 3, so I'll be waiting till I re-upgrade the motherboard. But yeah, that looks kind of cool. Yeah, I'm very happy with the way it looks, the way it came out. I can change those ones to red, and that back one I'll have to swap out for a red LED ring fan, but if I decide to do that, I'll let you know.
and everything fits with the back on it. So, yay! I just have the side off of it for ultimate cooling purposes. But yeah, this should be the final version of it until I find a really good deal on a motherboard. I think I still want an X99 system. Call me weird, but I do. I'm thinking something in a 6950X lineup. If anybody has one, they want to donate to the channel and watch me custom water cool it, leave me a message down below. Go ahead and leave me one of those down below. That's a thumbs up. You can subscribe to see other videos on the channel. There's almost 700, so you should be able to find something you like. Use my affiliate links down below. It will help me grow the channel and buy more equipment, such as the new motherboard that I really want. And, as always, I'll talk to you later.